Right now we're working toward our state accreditation, maintaining that.
That's Simpsonville's mayor explaining why she's waiting to take action that could give the city police national accreditation.
Plus, right now, Pickens County school leaders are deciding on big changes that will impact students and parents. It includes closing some schools. We'll take you to that meeting.
Live from the news station, this is 7 News at 6.
We are starting with weather tonight because we're tracking a severe thunderstorm that is working over the northern part of the upstate. You can see that the coverage has increased as well. Spotty rain across western North Carolina. But what we're tracking is in Greenville County, and this severe thunderstorm looks like it's going to stay just north of downtown Greenville, but it is still producing some very heavy rain not too far away. We've got a lot of cloud to ground lightning, the potential of some large hail. We had hail up to a ½ inch in diameter reported in Dacusville at 5:42. Also trees blown down with this thunderstorm in downtown Pickens. Travelers rest. It's going to get a little better for you. However, this storm is moving eastward and it's going to start to cause the weather to go downhill for a lot of folks eastward from Appalachia down towards Victor Mills. You want to watch out for the rain to get heavier and the winds to get gustier. Duncan, Lyman also included in this warning that is until 6:30 this evening. So that does include the western half of Spartanburg County. It officially does not include downtown Spartanburg, but we'll track this storm. In fact, let me do a storm track for you so you can see how this is going to be moving. Again, it's going to be going to the east at about 35 to 40 miles per hour, so it is not wasting any time. And it's going to be around Fairmont by 6:19, Boiling Springs 6:25 if that holds together. So we'll continue to track this and we'll pass along any additional warnings as they're issued. Diane?
Thanks for the heads up, Christy. First at 6, a Woodruff officer shot on the job hours ago is already home recovering.
He was hit during a drug raid at a house on Harrison Street. 2 men, Dennis Alexander and Michael Goggins, were taken into custody. Goggins had a bond hearing already.
And let's get to the breaking details with 7 News reporter Brianna Smith, who is live at the Spartanburg County Detention Center tonight. Brianna?
Well, Diane, that bond hearing just wrapped up and Goggins got a $20,000 surety bond just inside here at the detention center. Meanwhile, as you said, Sergeant Daryl Dawkins is home and he's ready to get back to work and back onto the job. Let's take you back, though, what happened this morning. Woodruff police say that they went to that house on Harrison Street to serve drug warrants. When Officer Dawkins entered the home, he was shot in the left arm. He didn't return fire because he heard a toddler in one of the back bedrooms. Police Chief Alan Bledsoe says the 2 suspects are both violent offenders and have a very long rap sheet. Bledsoe used the news conference today to air grievances with the judicial process.
They're not good people that we're dealing with, and all relatively short sentences on all of these crimes. We'd just like to see that when we work this hard and officers do get injured dealing with these people, that we actually give them some time and put them in jail.
Now, just to remind you, Michael Goggins, who just had the bond hearing here, he was not the shooter in this case. Deputies say that the other suspect, Dennis Alexander, was actually the one who shot the police officer. He'll have a bond hearing tomorrow. But we did check the numbers. Spartanburg County actually commits more inmates in the state than any other county in the past year, and they really led in the past 5 years, along with Greenville County. In Spartanburg County, Brianna Smith, 7 News.
All right, Brianna, thank you for that report.
The former state trooper who shot an unarmed man at a gas station in Columbia pleaded guilty to assault and battery in court today. This is dash camera video of Trooper Sean Gruber pulling over LeVar Jones for a seatbelt violation back in 2014. When Jones reached to get his license, Gruber shot him. Gruber was fired and the South Carolina Insurance Reserve paid Jones $285,000. Greenville's police chief is making some changes to how his officers use force in the field. Chief Ken Miller says a brand new use of force policy aims to preserve the sanctity of life. In 18 pages, that policy takes a defined approach to de-escalating situations called the force continuum. The stair-step method only allows lethal force in the most life-threatening of circumstances, and only then after all other methods have been tried.
So you'll see the emphasis on de-escalation, trying to create time and distance which creates a measure of safety for our employees and for the person that they're engaging.
Miller says the changes were sparked by a desire to be more transparent in the wake of a national outcry over police brutality. He says they want to show respect to the community, but they ask for the respect of the officers in return.
Time is running out for Simpsonville Police to get national accreditation. The city has until tomorrow to sign a check paying for the application fee, but the newly elected mayor says she needs more time to make a decision. 7 News reporter Dave Jordan explains the pros and cons.
This is not usually a topic residents follow closely, but here in Simpsonville, the police department's accreditation is the talk of the town.
And I just feel like it's sad that they're not doing it.
Patty Hendershot tells me she has been following this issue closely, and she is outraged that the city is refusing to pay the $11,000 accreditation application fee.
We feel safe with our police department, but if the chief feels like we need the accreditation, then I completely support him.
Simpsonville Police Chief Keith Groundsel said as much last week at a city council meeting, but he was prohibited by the city from doing an interview. So he went to the mayor for answers.
If that's something that was in dire need, it really should have been done when the application was first submitted anyway, back last year, but it wasn't.
Simpsonville Police lost their state accreditation files last year after a computer server crashed. That's when Chief Groundsel decided to pursue national accreditation, opting not to reapply for the state criteria. Mayor Curtis insists that she's not opposed to national accreditation, but she says she wants to review whether or not it's necessary, since the police department is poised to lose its state accreditation in May.
We're trying to make a very informed decision here, because this is something that's going to be hanging over Simpsonville for years to come.
But some residents like Hendershot say the time to act is now.
They should pay for the accreditation. I mean, they need to have someone to keep their feet to the fire.
Mayor Curtis says she'll continue to review the measure, but so far she hasn't set a timetable for when that review will be completed. In Simpsonville, Dave Jordan, 7 News.
A shooting at an Anderson County bar left one man dead and another injured over the weekend. Police are still trying to find that gunman. The police chief says that they've responded to the same club many times, and he's hoping there's a way to shut it down. He plans on talking to the council to get it shut down, and some are wondering if that could help cut down on violent crimes at other areas. Last year, we checked, and Anderson County deputies responded to 7 club or bar shootings in our area, out of which 3 people were killed. In 2014, they responded to 7 more with 1 death, and those numbers don't even reflect areas outside their jurisdiction, like Belton. The sheriff believes that there's no one club or bar still open that deputies believe is a danger.
Anytime that we put alcohol and guns together, it's a recipe for disaster. It just seems like that each time we respond, it increases in its potential for violence. And if that's the case, perhaps we need to look at, do we want the club in the city? What avenues do we pursue to look at that?
The Belton police chief is looking through a lot of paperwork for past calls to Cheers and Spritz. That's the name of the bar where this all happened. And then he wants to present his findings to city council on where to go from here. We are waiting to hear back from the owners of the club for comment.
Tonight, school board members in Pickens County will be voting on whether or not to close schools in the county. It has been a controversial issue for weeks, and the fire marshal is turning people away because this meeting is so crowded. This is a photograph just of the line outside. 7 News reporter Aaron Rodgers is at the meeting right now.
The meeting started just a few minutes ago. The parking lot is already packed. I'm told it should be a fairly short meeting because the vote is really the only thing on the agenda tonight. Now, they have had a few public meetings leading up to this point with a lot of parents and students speaking out against closing any schools. Now, the board has heard 3 proposals up to this point, and I'm told they could hear a 4th tonight. Right now, the plan is to close A.R. Lewis and Holly Springs Elementary schools, transfer those students to Haygood and Pickens Elementary, make Haygood K through 2 and Pickens 3 through 5. Now, about an hour ago, I spoke to the board member whose district covers the 2 schools slated to possibly close about what he thought about the plan.
It's really simple. I mean, the public owns the system. They hire you to represent them, and when you blatantly just oppose what they want, they remember at the next election.
If board members do vote to consolidate these schools that would take effect in August, we will let you know what they decide at this meeting online at WSPA.com, and we'll have more tonight at 10 and 11 on 7 News. In Pickens, Aaron Rodgers, 7 News.
Thank you, Aaron. Parents have heard a range of options, including a proposal for a 1% sales tax on prepared food. Board members say that that would have generated $12 million a year for the county.
Still ahead on 7 News at 6, a beautiful sight was captured in Spartanburg right above the newly reopened Cleveland Park. But this may not be your ordinary rainbow. We'll tell you what makes it so significant.
And later, hackers can get inside your car and they can do it in a way you may not expect. We'll explain how.
And we have a severe thunderstorm right now in Greer that stretches up toward Highland, and it's moving east at about 35 miles per hour. The weather is going downhill from Lyman into Duncan, and as that storm moves eastward, it's going to try to make its way farther into Spartanburg County. I'll have much more on this warning and the other showers that we're tracking out there coming up. All right, we're still tracking a severe thunderstorm moving east at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Taylor's, Greer, I-85, really rough driving here for a lot of folks. Gusty winds, lots of cloud to ground lightning. We've also had some reports of hail with this storm. And as that continues its track to the east, should be getting closer to Spartanburg by 6:30. Boiling Springs just before that. The banner covers up there should be about 6:25. So we'll continue to track this storm. If you're in the path of this storm and your car is out of the garage, if you can move it in to the garage, it would be a good idea with the hail, and of course watch out for the gusty winds and very, very tough driving right now with this rain. I'll be back in a few minutes with a complete forecast.
Thank you, Christy. This weekend, hundreds of people came out to honor the life of 6-year-old Benji, who died when a miniature train derailed in Spartanburg. And Cleveland Park reopened in his memory. A Parks Department worker captured this beautiful image of a rainbow over the park, and this is why it's unique. Check this out. Benji's last drawing before he died was of a rainbow with a person riding a unicorn. If you visit the park, you'll see the entrance is actually inspired by this rainbow artwork, and his signature is also on the playground's pirate ship. Straight ahead on 7 News at 6, we all want to keep our car secure, but hackers are able to get control of your system in ways you might not expect. We're going to show you how.
New at 6, security flaws in your car that make you vulnerable to hackers.
Researchers have found a number of ways to break in and control of the car's computer system. One unlikely place, your car stereo. No longer do thieves have to smash a window to break into a car. Hackers have already been able to unlock doors by decoding your key fob. New research into security flaws finds several ways hackers can tap into the computer systems of cars made in the last decade. If people can hack into the cars, can they take control of them?
Absolutely. So there's several well-documented examples of people taking control of cars, even over the cellular connection that's available in some cars.
The cellular and Wi-Fi connections are two major vulnerabilities since hackers don't have to gain entry. One inside is the diagnostic port that automotive repair shops use. Perhaps the most unlikely hacking source, the sound system. Researchers were able to take a CD or MP3 with malware on it, install it in the car just by playing the music, and they had an endpoint.
To be able to control the car without you having any control, that's just scary.
Makes me think I'm pretty glad that I'm not very important, so no one's going to probably try to take my Taurus.
Jokes aside, Dr. Richard Brooks, who's worked with car makers on security issues, says they have a real problem. What are the challenges that manufacturers face when it comes to fixing these problems?
It's very difficult because the car manufacturers actually put together components from a lot of different people, and so in order to get the security just right, you would have to kind of test all combinations of all the items that they put together.
So unless you have a classic,
I'm gonna go back to the 70s.
Hacking may someday be just another safety concern while you're on the road. Now, as for protecting yourself, Dr. Brooks says he's really not convinced that there's an easy way to do that.
Also, keep in mind on this, if you get a recall for a system update from your manufacturer, take your car in and get that done right away.
All right, we've got some very active weather in the northern part of the upstate. As a matter of fact, we've had reports of golf ball sized hail with this storm, and also around Furman. I got a picture from a viewer of hail just covering, and this is pea-sized hail, but a lot of it covering their deck. Now, we've got a live camera now from Greer so that you can kind of see what the skies look like. Of course, they're very dark. We've had some very heavy rain coming down. We've had wind damage reported associated with this storm when it moved through Pickens, and we've also had large hail reported in Dacusville earlier as that storm moved on through. So very active weather, and a severe thunderstorm warning continues until 6:30. Let's get back to radar and show you what's going on because this morning, again, in effect until 6:30, and that storm is moving eastward deeper into Spartanburg County. Another thunderstorm on the west side of that will also track. My gut feeling is that this first storm is going to cool the air down, so the one Travelers Rest may not reach severe limits, but this is the one that we're tracking. It's gotten a little smaller, but still packs a big punch. You're going to have to watch out for the potential of some damaging wind gusts as this gets closer to downtown Spartanburg, although the warning does not officially include Spartanburg, so some good news there. Right now, the worst of it, I'm going to take you in close here. The heaviest rain and the potential of some hail right now exists from Duncan down Highway 290 back towards Reedville, and the storm is on the move too. So if you're around Fairmont, Arcadia Heights, Clevedale, Southern Shops, you know, the intersection of 26 and 85, that's where we expect some gusty winds and heavy rain in just a few minutes as that storm works eastward. Now a little farther to the west. Again, I mentioned the storm in Travelers Rest, and we have more activity back to the west. It stretches all the way into Rabun and Oconee counties. And as you can see, those storms are tracking one right after the other. These are not severe, but the one, of course, into Spartanburg County is. Now, we'll take you in closer for a storm track. I thought I did a storm track. Well, it's going to be down towards Spartanburg within the next 20 minutes or so. But this is the southern end, basically, of some upper level energy that has bypassed us to the north. But we've had just enough energy and enough warmth and enough moisture for the system to help these storms to develop. So another warning or two is a possibility. Best chance will be north of I-85 where the action is right now. We've had isolated showers in Anderson County, also into Abbeville County. No warnings in effect there. Temperatures today topped out in the mid-70s. It's not the 80s that we had a few days ago, but it's been enough heat of the day to get some of those storms going. Right now we're back up to 75 at Clemson, 75 in Lawrence, a rain-cooled 63 in Greenville, and we're at 61 now in Asheville. After about 8 or 9 o'clock tonight, the threat of the rain is going to be over as that system pushes out. And here's what you can expect for the next 72 hours. Quieter weather and warmer weather for the next 2 days. We're back into the 80s for the high on Tuesday and Wednesday. A slight chance of an isolated shower early in the day on Wednesday with another front. That is eventually going to pull down some cooler air. And look at the temperature.